you can take us through our intro.
Thanks, Michelle, and thanks to all of you out there in TV land. Here's a little photograph that I took on my bike into work the other morning. And this, for those of you who know your Dublin, this is Aaron Key, St. Paul's Church, on a beautiful autumn's day here in the capital of the Republic. My name is Mark Simons, and I head the sales function here at Payslip. I actually joined Payslip just a little over a year ago. And prior to that, I had spent 10 years at Workday, where I was Alliance Manager, looking after Workday's Global Payroll Partners, the famous GPC program. Workday have about 20 partners of all types, aggregators, multinational accounting firms, etc. And one thing that I learned during that time was that there was less than universal happiness amongst customers with their global payroll providers. We used to say, no one loves their payroll provider. We also used to talk about the myth of global payroll. Payroll is always local, and there really is no single company that can deliver payroll globally in every country around the world. That's a fact, as we all know. And then I met Fidelma McGurk, our CEO here at Payslip, and I really like the Payslip model, which is fundamentally different and unique. In the Payslip model, employers choose their own in-country providers, and Payslip provides a platform that connects the various data sources within your home environment, your HRIS, your other enterprise data sources, things like commission systems, benefits providers, etc. All that data is consolidated in one place in a global to local data model. And then we can also connect to your chosen ICPs, in-country providers, ICPs. So Payslip is a platform that allows employers to standardize and harmonize their global payroll processes. I always think of reporting as a byproduct of our platform, which is probably a little bit harsh. When I worked in Workday, anytime I met customers, I'd ask them, how has Workday changed your life? And the answer was invariably, if headquarters asks us for a report, we can produce it for them. And when I ask Payslip customers, what does Payslip do for them? They always tell me it does magic. Slightly better than reporting. Anyway, Danny is going to show us that magic later. And it's important to understand that Payslip is different. Our USP is that Payslip is a database-driven platform, unlike some of the other solutions on the market. And we have a global to local data model, and Danny is going to show us that in some of her demonstrations today. So just in terms of agenda, maybe Michelle, our agenda today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of global payroll. And then we'll move quickly along to Danny, who will give us a short demonstration, and she'll talk to us a little bit about our general ledger functionality and the future plans. And then we'll finish off with questions and answers. So just to talk about why is global reporting important? There's more to payroll than just getting the payslip right. As our customer Julian Fisher at Get Your Guide says, we have everything right for accounting. That's a given. And we have lots of people in the room when it comes to payroll reporting. We have HR, we have payroll, and we have finance. Julian says that with Payslip, we get standard reports for all countries. And this helps to facilitate the discussions between HR and finance. And Julian has a little video up on if you follow us on YouTube. And the example that he gives is that during COVID, Get Your Guide was able to gather all the stakeholders and work out what they were going to do regarding the government programs that are available during the pandemic. Just one example. I want to talk quickly about a couple of other use cases. We have some wonderful customers using the platform. Cloudera, for example. They are, as you know, an enterprise data management platform. And the key user for us there is David Nugent down in Cork. And he tells a story on his video about his life before Payslip. He was asked by his CEO to prepare a report on the previous 2 years' historic compensation data. Not an unreasonable request, you would think. At the time, this was prior to them having Payslip, they didn't have a lot of historic data in international. And what data they did have was in different formats. And he said, some columns had moved. Columns had moved. Think about that for a second. And he also said that it took him 2 weeks to prepare the report that he was asked for by his CFO. 2 weeks. And with Payslip, you can now do it in seconds. So there's your ROI for anybody who's in the budget process. He also said that their finance system doesn't give the level of granularity, the level of detail that he was looking for. His finance system naturally gives account codes and department codes, but with Payslip, he can drill down a level further to the pay element level. So think, for example, bonus types. I'll move now, on now to another one. But before I do that, one final example that David gave was for his flux commentary. I just like saying flux commentary. Prior to Payslip, he had to pull data from 6 different spreadsheets. Painful. Danny will show us how you can view those reports on the Payslip platform literally in seconds. I want to talk about one final customer, and this is AMCS. They also have a video up on our channel on YouTube, and they are an environmental engineering platform. And Ronan Conlon there speaks about his experiences, and he says that there's 4 stakeholders for Global Payroll: the regulatory authorities, the employees themselves, the C-suite, and department heads. He says that the C-suite want fully loaded, consolidated payroll costs broken down by department and in a constant currency. He can do that on Payslip. And he has a nice quote in his video that I like. He says, "International boundaries for payroll reporting are a thing of the past." Hear, hear to that, I say. Now, before we move on to Danny, I just want to have one quick slide to show you. This, I like to call this our sunrise slide. But I just want to present it here as context to what Danny is about to show. So this is how Payslip fits into your ERP or your IT landscape today. And Payslip, we receive data from various enterprise systems. So you see there your HR systems like Workday, SAP. You've got comp and benefit systems, lots of other different systems. We have customers who gather data from literally 16 spreadsheets for each country and load them onto our platform and store that data in a consistent way in one global to local data model. And the data flows through our system. It flows back and forth to the ICPs. We send them a pay run file. They send us back some gross to nets. We've got a workflow engine. Obviously, that's an iterative process. You want to get the, very often the first set of gross to net results is not what the payroll team want. So there has to be some changes and reiterations and so forth. But basically what we're doing is we're connecting your existing IT assets to your existing ICPs. This is super fast to implement because it's not rip and replace. Right? We're keeping the bits on the left and the bits on the right of the diagram don't change unless you want them to change. So we store all the data on our platform. We have all the history. Everything's in a consistent, standardized database with this global to local taxonomy that I keep on talking about, but that will make more sense to you when Danny demonstrates it. This is what enables us to do the reporting, and Danny will now show us how that is done.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm going to stop sharing, and Danny, while you're pulling that up, I'm going to take the opportunity to just do one more poll, if that's okay. So here we're asking, how do you currently access your global reporting? Is it through third-party softwares? Is it delivered by, say, if you're currently using the aggregator model, or is it a mix of different systems and quite manual, tedious work on a monthly, weekly basis? Quite a mix coming through here now, actually quite a lot saying that it's a mix of limited systems and manual work, which is also our experience and what we hear by our, leads and prospects that come through. We'll just give it another 30 seconds, and Danny, you look pretty ready, so I won't take up any more of your time.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll just use the time to introduce myself while the poll is finishing. So I'm Daniela Barbova. I'm head of product at Payslip. I have joined Payslip at the very start. So this is very exciting for me to see how the product is evolving and the greatest traction we have across our clients. So within the company, I work closely with great professionals, both within our teams internally, like product managers, technology teams, and I also have the pleasure to work with external stakeholders, with a lot of clients, to make sure that we drive the product vision and the roadmap at Payslip so that we keep on delivering even greater innovative technology solutions for our clients for multi-country global payroll management. I'm very excited to show you today a quick demo of our platform. And I really want to start, if everyone is okay with that.
I'll
can
just
see
quickly
that.
show you the answers to the poll. So that's as expected. It's a mixture. It's quite manual, where it's delivered per country as opposed to global view, and some kind of third-party software providers as well. So yeah, looking forward to showing you all what we have here today.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so let's start. Payslip platform. It's a SaaS platform, and it's purpose-built to solve a range of existing payroll-related problems. As Mark has already mentioned most of them, I'll just quickly recap. So we help our clients standardize their global payroll process. We give them this visibility and control so that they can manage it in a proper way. It's easy for them to scale into new countries. And in the same way, we provide them with the end-to-end integration and automation solutions throughout the whole payroll process. And last but not least, they have the self-serve possibility to produce global multi-country reporting. So the Payslip platform features 3 integrated portals: employer portal, payroll provider portal, and employee self-serve portal. But for the purposes of today's demo, I will demonstrate the employer portal because there are a lot of interesting things happening here. So Payslip functionalities and tools are separated in different menus here visible on the left. And I'll just quickly say a few words for each of these menus. So menu company is the place in the system where the clients will set up their company, their org units. They will set up their key users and set up access controls as well for these users. Then they will set up their pay and taxes elements, will set up the payroll and the workflow. And this happens for every entity for the multinational employers. Once the company and the payrolls and the elements are set, it's natural that we move to employee data setup. And here is the place where we will set up the employees with their personal, job and org, and pay and taxes information. We will assign each employee to a country, company, and payroll. Once this is done, we're moving naturally to payroll operations menu, so where our clients enjoy a single dashboard view so that they manage and monitor payroll operations very quickly. This is the place also where they'll provide inputs for their payroll, and will also authorize gross to net once they're received by their payroll providers. Toolbox menu, it's a great way to visually present the status of the workflow in terms of actions, in terms of due dates, where we are in the process, is everything done on time, etc. So really our users love it. It's great visual presentation. And we also have actions, the overdue actions and the words pages here. And our star, the Payslip reporting tool, will give our users the opportunity to pull various types of global payroll consolidated reports. And as Mark said, it happens in real time. So you can access your real data in minutes 24/7. So for the purpose of today's demo, as I said, I will just cover a small piece of all these great functionalities that we have to show you how our reporting tool operates. And to do this, I want to also explain how we prepare the data, the payroll data for your reporting. So that is why I will cover 3 main pieces: how we set up and access elements on our platform. This is the taxonomy part. How we standardize, in what format we standardize all this data, and that is exchanged between the clients and their ICPs, which is the parent file. And after that, I will show you the reporting. So let me start with pay and tax element setup. So why I want to stress on the pay and tax element setup, why it is so important? Well, because this is really the key to our consolidated reporting. And how? How is this so important? We already said that Payslip standardizes the payroll data. So this is how we do it, with our global first data model. Because we all know that multinational employers receive data on different levels, such as we start from the country, company, payroll, element, and employee level from multiple vendors and systems. And that happens on both input level and gross to net level. And this data comes in different formats. So we all know that that's a fact. However, Payslip transforms the data and visualizes it in a single standardized format, which is our parent file. And the whole standardization process starts here with the proper pay and taxes element setup, because here the clients will build and configure an unlimited number of pay and taxes elements. Each element will fall into main category. After that, will fall into certain subcategory and will be given a global and local name. And this is how it works. The main principle is pretty straightforward. We design a standardized data taxonomy that would work globally, but still makes a connection and take all the details, all the depth of the inputs and the gross to net data for every country with all those country-specific elements. And we will make sure that it's consolidated and validated across your inputs and gross to net data. And it happens every pay cycle. So at the end, even though that all the payroll data comes in and out to us at a granular country element level, it gets stored, categorized, and you can pull it up in any type of report, no matter of the level, it's macro or micro. And that gives the capability of the multi-country consolidated reporting in Payslip platform. So now that the elements are set up, we can move to our next piece today, which is the standardized format, or as I already called it, our parent file. So parent file is a different file for any of the payrolls. And as you have noticed, I moved to payroll operations menu where the employers can access all their active parents at a time. And let's pick one of them. So let's use the German one and open one of the parent files. So as I mentioned, the parent file has a significant key role, and it contains all the employees that are falling into this pay run and are ready for payment, and all the earnings and deductions elements that are relevant for this country, company, and payroll. So this is actually the standardized file format. It is used for data set exchange between employers and ICPs, and all of the inputs that are relevant for the payroll. This could be permanent tax elements, permanent pay elements, temporary pay elements, joiners, leavers, leave of absence events, any other kind of general changes. It is all tracked here. So in this instance, all the input data and all the gross to net calculations data are landing in this file, no matter in what format they're coming to Payslip. And we all know that actually this is the data source for all the reports after that. So we set up the data, we see how we exchange it, and now I'll move on to reporting menu. So Payslip Global Control Platform stores all your data in a standardized manner from all countries, for all your company's payrolls and employee. And it all happens in this one system of records. And this allows the comprehensive global reporting. So our tool enables real-time access to consolidated global payroll data. And with any of these reports, you can unlock the data, you can analyze it, you can choose from a like huge range of dynamic reports. They're there for you in seconds, in real time, totally self-serve option. And each report will provide you with great insights and will help you take informative decisions. So our reports are grouped in 4 different categories by the main personas: HR, finance, payroll, and control and governance. And I will demonstrate a few. As you can see, there are numerous reports, but I will demonstrate a few so that you can get an idea how quickly and easy it works. So I'll start with the HR reports. And as you can see here, we have numerous options, and really the HR reports will help you track your global headcount and any types of changes. I really want to produce a report for you related to the workforce detail because it's the most detailed one and will give you a lot of great insight, especially when we also talk about the analytics. So let me pull a report for January, from January this year until the end of October. And I want to produce a report listing all my countries, all my companies, payrolls, all my workforce types of employment, business unit, cost centers, and departments. I just click the button run, and you can see the report is available right here in seconds, additional information for the filters they have produced. And each report is available in platform in view mode. You can also download it if you need to analyze some data in a offline manner. And the next thing that I wanted to show for this report is actually our analytics, because each HR report has a set of associated analytics that are appropriate to the report type, and these can vary between the reports. So I will go quickly through the different areas of the analytics page, so you can see how easy it's to navigate and to read. Headcount tiles at the top, they will be listing all the total workforce headcount, only the joiners or only the leavers, because it's a combined report. After that, when we move to the next one, we have plenty of options to check what's happening with our headcount by country, or I can do it by company or payroll, business unit, or cost center, or any other of the organizational units you have set up on our platform, which could be office location, project, subsidiary. So it's a very useful and informative report. The next analytics here on the page, this is the headcount by period, and displays the headcount by worker type over a set of periods. The next slide here, the next area, the next chart, this is the headcount by work type, because Payslip can accommodate all your workforce types, and you can have a very quick visibility. So how they're spread. So we have 230 local employees. So we have 10 short-term assignments, host, and all the other colors. And the last pie chart is giving you a great visibility in terms of employee self-serve usage. So these are the total numbers of your employees set up on Payslip, and you can see that the numbers of the active and inactive ones that are using the employee self-serve portal. So next report that I want to show, I want to move to finance reports, and similar to the HR reports, you can see here a lot of options, and every of these report provides even further opportunities because you can play with the different dynamic filters for each report. So finance reports are very important, and one of the most favorite reports of our clients, this is the global total employer cost, and it's really giving great visibility so that you can easily monitor and compare payroll costs across different countries, across different companies, across different payrolls, and it can all happen in a currency that you would prefer to use. So in my example, I will produce a report for Q3 of the year. And I would, of course, I want it consolidated across my countries, companies, and payrolls. And the currencies, the payroll currencies of all these countries in this example are euro and pounds. However, I would like to produce a report in US dollars, and Payslip provides this opportunity for the users so that you can either choose from a list of predefined rates, or you can play with different forecast scenarios and play with different custom rates provided by you. So for today's demo, I have already predefined rates set up usually by a colleague in the company, like some of the teams in the company. So for example, the finance teams might be giving the instructions. So these will be the rates that need to be used for the month of October. I pick up the rate, I press save, I press run, and similar behavior to the HR report as I have demonstrated. It's very quickly available for you in seconds, quick access to the filters that you have used. Again, you can download it, you can save it as well, and you can access the report later, or you can view it in the platform. So you have seen currently, instantly, very quickly, global report, which will be showing you the cost across all the 4 companies here set up, all the companies, all the countries companies set up for you on the platform, and their payrolls for the periods that they have chosen. So that's a great report. It gives great visibility in terms of employer cost in different countries, and it's a key report for data for decisions and related to new hires, where I should hire more, or decisions related to cutting costs and etc. So I have already introduced you the analytics on the HR reports, and it's just the best time to announce you now that next week is our release for November release platform, and we'll have the exact same view of finance analytics, which will make the reports even easier to read and to be used. So another report, I think it's very useful to show here in this area, even though that there are a lot. Maybe just I want to just say a little bit of words about this global payroll element cost, because this is important, as Mark mentioned to you, that really in Payslip you can drill down further to an element level. Yes, absolutely, you can do it. This report will be presenting only the pay elements relevant for your companies across all your companies. You can drill down even by subcategory, then you can drill down on an element level for any period of time, again, using whatever rates you want. Same will happen with the deductions, employer contributions or employee deductions. And also after the element level, you can also drill down to an employee level so that you can see what's happening and where the difference is coming from. So the other report, which is very useful, and I really want to show, this is the variance report. This report is usually presenting a comparison on an element level for certain periods of time. So in my example, I will choose, let's say, the month of September, and I'll compare it with October for Germany, for one particular country, for one particular company and payroll. You can choose 2 and actually more than 2 pay periods. And the best thing here is also that it's not a must that these periods are consecutive, which means that you can very easily compare, let's say, your bonuses paid in October 2022 versus the bonuses compared same period last year, October 2021. So here you have noticed for every report, you can assign to a currency that you like, the exact same experience. For the purposes here, again, you can see how quickly the report was generated, and as soon as it's produced, you can see that it's very easy to navigate and to read it. This is the comparison on the element level. So this is month of October, this is month of September, and then we have the difference in values calculated in value and also in percentages. And it's very easy.
Yeah, sorry, Danny, just to say, so this is the famous flux commentary that we were talking about earlier. There's a couple of questions, Danny, coming through. Just it might be relevant to address them now concerning multi-currency capabilities. I think we're showing some of that, are we? And there's a question then about who maintains the FX rates, and so typically obviously the FX rates can be imported from various sources.
Absolutely. It's a total self-serve option for the employers. Yeah. So it's up to the internal decisions and internal departments who owns that.
Yeah, and there is a change currency reporting, or sorry, change reporting currency is a button there. So we sometimes obviously, as I mentioned earlier, people want to see reporting in a constant currency. So you obviously want to compare apples to apples. And so you can you choose the reporting currency. You can do everything. I guess that's one's in euros. I see euros there. But
yeah, that's one is euros.
You could equally select a different currency, and then you pick the FX rate that's relevant to that time period.
Absolutely. So this one, the one that I've produced, maybe it's a good time to present as well the different tabs here that customize a report is giving you the opportunity to produce a report. Next tab, you can access all the recent reports that you have put. And then we have another tab, which is giving you the opportunity to access any reports that you might have saved. So for example, this one, I want to save it because I want to access it on a later stage. I go and save the reports. It's right there, and I don't have to pull it again or search for it. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Danny. Yeah. There's other questions that maybe we'll come to at the end that are less relevant to the current flow. I don't want to put you off your chips completely, Danny.
Great, yeah, because I'm cautious about the time. It's really just to say for the payroll and variance report, it's on element level, but with the number of payroll reports, which is the next category, you're drilling down and you can reach here, this report for workforce payroll changes report, drilling down so that you get to employee level and see where the difference is coming from. So really quickly, I want to cover the fourth group of reports, very important reports. These are control and governance reports, and you can see that here we have a variety of reports. Some of the most important ones are the changelog report, which is giving you the opportunity to track all the changes that are happening on the platform, who changed what and when, no matter if it's happening in terms of access to your key users, in terms of general updates for your employees, or pay and access elements for your employees. Another great report, it's also linked to the taxonomy that we were discussing earlier. It's a global pay and taxes overview, because this report will give you the possibility to extract a report showing you all the elements set up on the platform for the different countries, in which category they fall, in which subcategory. It's very useful for all our clients that are expanding, because with every next country that they put on the platform, just by a click of a button, they produce the report, and as they follow the global setup and the standardization, that makes their life really easier so that they can move with the setup. And the one that I want to show, that's a workflow audit report as well. This is very important in regards with tracking all the performance of your, let's say, payroll providers, but also your teams against the agreed service level agreements. So I'll play with different country here. I'll choose Ireland. We follow the same experience, country, company, and payroll. Pressing the button, report is generated in seconds, and the report will present all the actions, the steps and actions in the workflow process, who is the action owner, when was the original deadline, and when was the completion date. So very easy, you can identify any trends in any delays or compare against the SLA. So here, for example, you can see the final payroll reports for the payroll partner for this month. My payroll partner was one day late. So you had unlimited opportunity to pull it for all your countries and different periods, so that you can track at any point of time if there are trends there or everyone is following the SLAs as per the agreements.
Excellent, Danny. Thank you so much. And I think you're going to switch to show everybody now the magic work of the general ledger generation on the platform. And while you do that, I'm going to just run our last poll, and then we'll quickly move on to a few minutes of Q&A. So our last question is, we're just really curious to see, like, in general, how long does it take you to gather your monthly general ledger? It's a really incredible piece that you're going to see on the platform now. So we just want to see what our participants, what challenges they're facing at the moment.
Okay. And maybe
just while we're, sorry, Danny, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mark.
I wish we'd rehearsed. So just, yeah, while we're paused there, there was a question in the box there about audit reporting. Mm-hmm. And so, I hope we answered it, but there's various, ways that you can get different audit reports out of the system. Danny just showed one about essentially the SLAs and so forth. But a lot of, because all the data is on the platform, all the transactions, all the events, all the communication with the different ICPs, in-country providers, happens on the platform. And so a lot of our customers use the platform when they're doing audit, side by side with the auditor, to show them what happened, who approved the bonus, et cetera, when was it done. Everything is timestamped, recorded on the platform. I'm always shocked when I talk to prospects and they tell me things like, we do screen capture to get transactions date stamped. I'm just always baffled by that. Anyway, sorry.
No, all right. As expected, we have a mixture here of 1 to 2 to 3 working days on the general ledger. So I'll hand you over to Danny now to show you it all in live action.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. So indeed, no surprise from the results of the poll. That's why we're so delighted with our industry-changing solution, which is the self-serve general ledger reporting in platform. So our clients, they can generate general ledgers in seconds by one click whenever they need them. And it happens just by this button, which is positioned on every payroll level. As you can see here, a very quick message telling that it will take under 5 minutes. Usually it takes about 2-3 minutes. So I'll just say a few words while it's generating. So producing the general ledger report is historically a task that's outsourced to third party usually. Usually happens at the end of the payroll. However, with Payslip, you can see that we give the users this power to generate the reports themselves as often as they need at any point of time, 24/7. So the other great advantage of the reports is that because they can be produced on any stage of the payroll, Immediately, they enable early insights into the GL and visibility of the GL process. So we can generate the full GL report once the Payslip platform has absorbed the gross to net, or check progress and balance by generating partial GL reports before full gross to net absorption, even on one of the first runs. So let's say, so if you give me just a second, I would like to refresh the platform and I go on our lovely documents storage. I can go here and you can see that on tab GLs, I have produced like this report on 27th. It was just produced. And for your ease, there is also a status if it's balancing or not balancing. So I'll just quickly download the report and open it for you and share it so that you can see it's a nice format and that it's very easy to navigate and to be used for all our clients.
Fantastic. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have one or two really interesting comments coming through, or questions coming through. Mark, thank you for tackling some of them as we went through. We want to hear from Narelle. How do you enable data feed sharing from various partners, especially those that might themselves have a limited automatic integration?
I'm happy to take that one, Michelle. Yeah. So how do we communicate with the ICPs? So there's a couple of ways of doing it. We can send them. We have a kind of our own format. We call it a pay run file, and a lot of the ICPs are happy to take that. If, however, they want the file delivered to them in their particular format, their particular template, we can generate the file in their format. So we're all about the integrations, automating the integrations where we can, because the less manual steps, the better.
Great. There's one more that's come in here. What kind of GL formats do you support?
I'm happy to take
that's one for Danny.
Yeah, happy to take that. Yeah. Well, the great thing is that we can produce, we have a standard GL module that produces a standardized format produced by Payslip, but we also have an enhanced versions that can be configured the way you need it for your accounting systems. So we are pretty flexible on that.
Excellent. Okay. Mark, I might get this one to you actually. How quickly can a company onboard to Payslip?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I wasn't expecting that. So typically when we sign a customer, we like to light up the initial countries, the initial phase of countries within, I would say, 3 months of a signature. So obviously, depending on the complexity of the payroll, the customer may want to do a parallel runs or whatever. But in general, we light up the first country within 3 months. And for, let's say, if we had a client population of less than a couple of thousand, we could light them up within 6 months. Obviously we can dial it up or dial it back to meet the internal requirements and capabilities of the customer, because sometimes certainly if we're gathering data from different systems, that all has to be planned out and resourced both by us and internally. And the biggest part of the work here when it comes to onboarding is defining the data model, right? So as Danny showed us, we have this kind of global to local data model. So in German, it's Überstunden, but the global model, we want to call it overtime, right? So we want to map everything from the local level. If you think about it, any payslip in any country, right? The actual fields on that employee payslip, each one of those fields maps back to one of a set of global fields, right? And that set definition, those field names are entirely definable by the customer, right? So this is all zero code changes, right? We can, it's all configurable right down to that pay element level. And so we always say to customers, take your time, think about how you want your reporting to look like, think about how you want your data structures to look like, think about what other countries you might want to move into over time, and try and spend time, be thoughtful about how you build that taxonomy.
Yeah, getting it right from the start. Another good question here that the GL has sparked some interest. Do you also facilitate automatic integration to financial systems for the GL bookings purposes?
Yeah, so I mean, so typically, the journal file is going to essentially be rows and columns, right? So, so a lot of the time we can present it in that format, and that's digestible by the financial system. If the financial system has got APIs, I would say, yes, we can do that. We see those kind of API type interfaces more on the HRIS side of things. On the ERP side of things, it tends to be more flat file based.
Excellent. One more has popped in there. I think we have.
Yeah, I wanted to add a bit of color, sorry, to one of the previous questions that Narelle asked about the integrations to the, let's say, in-house systems like your HRIS and your ERP, or your bonus systems, your commission system is always one of my personal favorites, and the integrations to the ICPs. So everywhere we integrate, everywhere we take in data from an external data source, right? We're transforming that data, we're loading it onto our database, right? So every field we take in has meaning to us and gets stored in a database. And this is, I think, very different to what's out in the market. We're not just simply moving blobs of data around. And we're not saying to customers, complete this template, complete this workbook for Germany. We can generate that German workbook, right? But every time we take data onto the system, we're validating that data. Because the data has semantic meaning to us, we can validate it against a set of validation checks, right? So checks, if it's supposed to be 8 digits long, we'll make sure it's 8 digits long. If the guy's name is John O'Shea with an apostrophe, we'll make sure that that apostrophe is still there, right? All that sort of stuff. We can do semantic checks at that level. We can do quantitative checks. So data ranges, for example. So nobody should have a salary more than $1 million. Depending on what kind of company you work for or whatever, right? But but all those various checks can be put in place, right? So and that data validation again is unique to our platform, and it only exists because we have this database, this data model, this taxonomy where every field has value to us. And when we do the validations through an RPA that we have, robotic process automation, we call it CETO, and that's the marketing team for you. Sorry, Michelle.
Thanks, Mark. No, delighted you brought it up. Okay, so that's most of our questions answered. And Mark, thank you for touching on other topics as well. We'd love to talk to everybody that's here today in a lot more detail than what we've expanded on, which is the reporting part of our platform. But thank you for taking the time to join us.
Before you go, there's one question. There was a question, do you report in local currency? So I hope you answered that. So we can report in any currency that you want. Sorry, that was just another question there. Sorry, I came in late. Apologies, Michelle.
No, not at all. So yes, once again, thank you for joining. And thank you to Daniela and Mark for squeezing this into your schedules as well. And thank you to all of our attendees. We had a fantastic turnout today, so we'll be reaching out to you in the coming weeks. And it was a pleasure to meet you all. Take care.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're always there. And don't forget about that YouTube channel. It's my go-to place for.
I do my job. Yeah.
Writing scripts. Thanks, Michelle.